Alright, what's up guys? Part 2 of Illustrator on the iPad. We are vectorizing a drawing that I did in Procreate and just showing some basic tools. In part 1 I did some shapes and the Pathfinder tool, also known as the shape builder tool, the Boolean functions. And this one I want to go over some brush work as well as the pen tool. So let's get right into it, right? I'm going to go ahead and hide the layers that I am planning on drawing with you guys now. And let's go ahead and make a new layer. So I'm going to start with the bow for the bow and arrow, right? Now, all that really is a few brush strokes, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure it's symmetrical. I'm not too attached to the shape, but if I wanted to, I could trace it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the shape of the top half and then duplicate it and flip it. Now, it works a bit differently than it would on the computer, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and first off making the string, I'm going to use the pencil tool with no fill and a dark yellow stroke. Let's go ahead and hold the button down and draw a straight line. There I go. I can go ahead and increase that stroke size if I wanted to with the selection tool. Just click and drag up, and that looks good. Then the tool that we're going to use next is the blob brush tool. So the blob brush tool, in comparison to the pencil tool, works a little bit differently, right? If the pencil tool draws a stroke, the blob brush tool draws a fill. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to draw with the blob brush tool, and I'll just draw this little stroke there. Now if I select that, you can see that the stroke that the path that I just drew has no stroke, it's just a fill. In comparison, if I draw that exact same line, that exact same mark with the pencil tool, watch what we get. You see the blob brush tool is drawing filled and complete shapes. The pencil tool is just drawing the line and not an actual complete shape. So let's use that blob brush tool and let's draw the arc of the bow, something that like Legolas would use, right? So let's go ahead and just do a downward arc, a little bit of a flourish. Let's tap with 2 fingers, try that again. Downward arc, a little bit of a flourish, there it goes. Now if I want to, I can, go back and patch things up, and what's cool is that as long as I'm drawing the blob brush with the same color, it will automatically add it on to the shape that I've got going, and that's pretty cool. So if I wanted to add the string onto that, what we got to do, we did this in the last tutorial, let's go ahead and create a stroke outline from the object menu and then select the string and the bow and use our shape builder to combine them together. There it goes. So now I would usually duplicate this and flip it, but Illustrator on the iPad doesn't have that edit transform function, but it has something else that I'm going to use. I'm going to select that, and bottom right there's this really cool repeat functions. The one we're looking for is mirror. If I click that, what that does is that creates this axis of symmetry, right? And anything that I do to my original happens to the one on the right near exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the button down, rotate it perfectly 90 degrees, and move it until I have a complete bow. And boom, and there I go. I can go ahead and rotate that. I like to go ahead and just expand that once more, and that's the bow. Alright, let's do the wizard hat. I'm going to lock the bow. I'm going to make a new layer, and for the wizard hat I'm going to go ahead and actually add in a separate reference photo just to have it a little bit bigger. I'm going to add that in from my photos. I'm going to increase the size, and I like to drop the opacity of my references. Let's go ahead and lock the layer, make a new layer where I'm actually going to draw the wizard hat. So the tool we're using for the wizard hat is going to be the pen tool. Pen tool in Illustrator on the iPad, it's the same exact pen tool that is in Vectorizing. I have a tutorial on that. I also have a tutorial on the pen tool in Illustrator on the computer. If you don't know the pen tool, you should. I'm just going to tap once and create some very straight objects here. It's a tool that's in so many software. Because I'm drawing with a fill, I'm going to switch that once. There we go. Press and hold for this curve. I'm going to press the button and then point my handle up where I'm going next. Yeah, you should know the pen tool. It's a very, very, very basic tool that is in not just Illustrator, it's in Photoshop, it's in Adobe Premiere, it's in After Effects. I'm gonna hide this path and then just draw the stars next. What's cool with the stars is I can draw them Even if they go a little bit outside the hat, because I can fix that later, I can trim that up later. So I'll draw that one, I'll draw this one, and I'll be okay going outside the hat a little bit. This one I don't need to go outside the hat at all. Just going quick with these. It's okay if it's not perfect, it's a wizard's hat, you know? Who's to say what the perfect wizard hat is? Let's go ahead and select these. Let's make them yellow. And then what I'm going to do once I bring back this wizard hat path is select all three, use my trusty handy dandy Blue's Clues, right? I'm going to divide all and then ungroup that. Click on the parts that I don't want and delete them, and we're on our way. So let's go ahead and group these. For the brim of the hat, I'm going to go ahead and make an ellipse with the shape tool. Let's go ahead and draw that. Let's make it my darker shadow blue. Let's try to generally match it. I'll use my stack function right here to just drag it beneath. There we go. Now to get the stroke, right, because it's got the dark blue stroke of the background around it, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to duplicate this group. I'm going to combine the whole thing together. Get rid of the fill and add a stroke. So combine the whole thing together. And get rid of the fill. And then add a stroke of my dark. And increase the stroke a little bit. And then once I add the background color in, it'll look just fine. So let's go ahead and I can unlock my reference and delete that reference, and boom, we've got the wizard's hat. Let's go ahead and group that and put it up there. All right, last but not least, the dragon. I'm gonna go ahead and add that in on its own layer, as I have been doing this entire time. Into my photos, I actually drew the dragon in a separate document, but I think he belongs in this one. And I'm going to do the dragon entirely with the pen tool again, so let's just get used to the pen tool. Let's go ahead and drop the opacity of my reference, and then lock the layer, make a new layer on top of it, and let's draw the dragon first with the pen tool. So again, the pen tool, like, I have other tutorials on it. I have a tutorial on it in Vectorizing, but I'm done with Vectorizing. I have a tutorial with it on Vectorizing. I should have a tutorial of how to use it on the Illustrator on the computer. It's such a good tool, such a tool that like is in nearly every field of digital media, whether you're an animator, a designer, even just like an illustrator. It's a tool to know. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward so you can watch just the whole pen tool action happen. So there's the outline of the dragon. Let's go ahead and give him a good old yellow fill. And I gave him the dark yellow stroke, and we can increase that stroke size once we use the selection tool. And then let's go ahead and hide that. We'll bring it back after we draw the egg. I'm going to give the egg a nice blue color. Now to divide it up, I can do a few things here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to actually use the pencil tool, or you know, I'll just make a straight line with a pen tool, just like this. And then check out what I'm going to do here. Let's select both of those, and then let's use our divide function. Select divide all. Color, after I ungroup it, color 1/2, my shadow color. Group them together. And then to create that stroke that goes over both of them, if I duplicate that, combine the top group. I said combine the top group, it's slowing down on me. Combine the top group, and then switch it so that it's got no fill, but our dark blue, like our background blue stroke. Bring back my dragon, and I've started to get that. So after that, I could probably just blob brush on some eyes for our dragon friend. And we're coming close to the end here. So again, it's Illustrator on the iPad. it doesn't have as many tools and its functions as the one on the computer does. I'm really hoping to add in like an image trace feature soon, but I'm not holding my breath for it. In the meantime, we can still make some pretty cool designs with it. It's got the pen tool, and really, if you get proficient with the pen tool, that's going to be all you need, if I'm honest. Let's go ahead and group this together, and voila. After that, I would just hide my reference layer, add in a background color, hide all my reference layers, and there we go. I don't know when my video stopped, but I'm not re-recording this tutorial, so thank you for watching.